never been on the business.
We're going on a bit of training.
Oh dear.
Hey, a bit of training. Here, jump to attention.
Enjoy it, dog. You know you'll love it.
We're going to be napping.
Right, last man.
You know, I'd love to see the expression on his face when I told him I was an acting corporal.
Who knows? If the casualties get any worse, they might send him down here.
He is out here, he's with A Company. He's on the same train as us. I threw the chicken on his lap when I got into the wrong wagon, do you remember?
I'd forgotten about that.
It's gone very good so far. We've had some good days. We a few days ago shot my main scene with Heidi. So a good passionate scene, and that went really well. Then I think it was on Friday or Saturday we had quite a tricky scene because we had lots of problems with weather. It was sort of like sitting outside in the sun cooking. So we were like pieces of meat for the day, but just about got through it. And we had an exciting night last night down at the train station with all the smoke and the pyros, which was great fun. That's sort of one of the big major shots, so it's come out quite well.
Are there any scenes that you were supposed to be in later of the week that you're not in now because of funding problems?
Well, there was all the battle stuff. I mean, I'm sure my character had a lot of the battle stuff. Yeah, it's disappointing because we all want to run around with guns and having explosions go right, left and centre, but I think in the long run, because we've been on such a tight schedule, it's given us an opportunity to be a bit fresher for these sort of scenes like we're shooting today, all this domestic stuff.
Sorry, as characters, he feels straight. Stand by, please.
Lindsay was part of Dealing With It Films workshop, who supplied the crew and some other members of the cast. We held a casting session in Downham Market in Norfolk, and Lindsay struck me at the time as being right for us. There was something very sort of tough quality about her, plus the fact that she looked actually younger than she really is, which is ideal because Stephanie, her character, is 13. And I knew that we could make Lindsay look 13 without too much difficulty. And, yeah, as I say, she is an amateur, but she really pulled off her performance very well, and I'm particularly pleased with what she did.
Action.
Do the same to me.
What?
Do the same to me.
So Chris, what kind of problems have you been faced with then so far?
Sunburn. Sunburn seems to have been the main one so far. Trying to keep everybody cool on, what day was it? Friday. Forgotten the days. Lindsay's hair is quite curly, and with the rain, the way we were going to do it, it would have meant that she would have spent more time in here with me trying to adjust it than anything else. So I'm just going to do something else. So all my plans have gone to pot today, so I'm rethinking as I'm working. Lindsay's caught the sun, and Lindsay's actually got to be quite a ghost life figure.
Now, do you see what I'm talking about? I'm sorry, but it was the only way to tell you.
I hate you. I hate you!
Wait!
Tom and Alex struck me straight off as being right for the job because they are friends in real life, and their relationship in real life is in some ways very similar to the character relationship that they have on screen, and I knew there was a sort of a very silent but nevertheless very real relationship between them which could show itself on the screen.
Truth is, I'm a little bit afraid.
I can understand that. It's the unknown that's more frightening.
I mean, you hear so many...
Tom and I have acted together so many times, you know, we've been best friends for about 3 years now, and we've been in various productions together. Just before this, literally the week before, we just finished a big outdoor production of Midsummer Night's Dream together, where we were playing Lysandra and Demetrius opposite each other, which was a hoot. We love acting against each other. And people like Andrew and Richard are great. It's funny working with two directors who are absolute opposites. You know, Andrew is the meticulous historian, and Richard is someone who completely works off his emotions. It's quite fun.
Don't pick out a spot under his nose, that'd be nice. see that spot, Chris?
No, we can't.
No.
He just guessed it was there.
Don't worry.
It's alright, I was winding you up.
All the actors were magnificent, but in particular the ones that stand out, I think, are the Baron for a start. He took the character and he just turned him into something quite nightmarish. And the same goes, I think, for von Keidecker. Von Keidecker is one of my favourite characters anyway. I wrote him as a villain who is a believable villain. I think the problem with a lot of Hollywood villains these days is they just don't. They're just not believable. And I wanted von Keidecker to be someone who had two sides, and Michael de Boer really performed that brilliantly. He acts almost like a sort of slightly buffoonish bachelor during the dinner scene, and we believe him. But afterwards, when we see him in the cigar scene, he's a whole different man. And he sits there and he's talking to the Baron, and he says there's the question of her sort of slightly rebellious streak, as he says.
Her slightly rebellious streak.
And it's brilliant. He just puts something to her performance that makes von Keidecker.
I don't have a son. The rest of the family will fight over the inheritance like wild cats. I should very much like to propose to her at a large gathering. That would be fitting.
So you'll take her?
I think so. She's pretty enough, one cannot deny. I must find a wife soon. There is the disadvantage of her slightly rebellious streak. But as you say, it is merely youthful vigour, and the responsibilities of motherhood will no doubt end that.
What will you accept as a dowry?
Well, the main budget problems that we had were that sets fell behind schedule, and the result was that to get the sets, especially the battle set I'm really thinking of here, to get the battle set finished on time, we would have to get in more men and more equipment that we simply could not afford. And because that would push the budget, which was already small and which was already very tight, over the level that we had, we realised we just could not shoot the battle scenes, and so we had to lose them, which was a great shame. And looking at the pilot film, I realised it still lacked action. So what I did was I took a couple of actors down to a quarry in Norfolk, and we spent the day just filming a few snapshots of action, which we then put into the teaser trailer at the beginning. This and a few shells going off, just to show really that we knew there was a need for action, and that's really just to give a taste of things to come.
Let me. Okay, when it does that, if it does that any time, do this. Okay, just grab this with you and pull it back hard. Yep. Now it's cocked. Okay, if we're going for a shot of you actually firing the thing, the mistake you get on a lot of films is there's no with blanks there's no recoil. Yeah, so you're really tucking it in. You keep this elbow reasonably low down. You're leaning back. Lean forward.
I think the biggest challenge though in post-production was getting the balance between some of the very low dialogue and the very loud explosions. Andrew kept saying to me he wanted more and more explosions on the night before the raid scene, more and more shells going off, and it is actually quite difficult with some of the equipment that we're working with. We're only working with sort of a desktop computer really, so chucking on more and more sound can actually cause a problem. You have to be careful how you use it.